he not recognise the great danger to the cause of socialism in this country or any other country of the imposition of a banker's Europe on the people of this continent?
We're listening to reaction of Robin Cook's speech from a number of Eurosceptics, or people who are not that happy with the way things have been going. We've got Jeremy Corbyn MP, Roger Berry MP, and we're also joined by Peter Shore, who you saw leaving the hall a short while ago. So Jeremy Corbyn, what's your problem with the way that Robin Cook is handling Europe?
My concern is that we need to be very robust against the conditions for the single currency. A single currency would lead to enormous cuts in public expenditure in Britain and a very rapid rise in unemployment. Now, he appeared to make some tilt in that direction. The other one is a concern about democracy in Europe. We have a European bureaucracy totally unaccountable to anybody. Powers have gone from national parliaments, they haven't gone to the European Parliament, they've gone to the Commission and to some extent to the Council of Ministers. These are quite serious matters.
People argue against there being a drop in public expenditure by saying that there will be economic growth to compensate.
Well, I've heard that argument before, but the reality is we have more poor in Europe per head than almost any other country. The number of people in real poverty is increasing, and the kind of cuts in public expenditure envisaged by the Maastricht criteria would lead to a massive increase in poverty and unemployment in Britain. You cannot wait for growth. You have to deal with the issue of poverty now.
I'm pleased you're having a referendum. I wish we were having a referendum in Britain. If you succeed in getting a no vote here, that will be such a boost to people like us all over Europe that do not want to live in a European empire of the 21st century. I obviously hope and believe that the Irish people will vote no in October, but don't scrap your posters, don't recycle them, because you're going to need them for a third referendum. Because I've just got a feeling they're going to keep on voting until they get the answer they want. I remember that day, just like Thomas, when the last Irish referendum result came through in the British Parliament, ministers started saying, we're going to have to look again at this. Hang on, what business of the British Parliament is it how the Irish people decide to vote? Yeah?
I'm concerned about the way the European Union is increasingly operating like a free market across Europe, tearing up the social chapter, damaging working class and workers' interests across Europe, hiding tax evasion in Luxembourg and other places, and secretly negotiating a transatlantic... Can I finish? Yeah. Secretly negotiating a transatlantic trade and investment partnership.
I wanted to see a more democratic Europe. I wanted to see policy making that was more open. I wanted to see greater similarity of protection laws and regulation on environmental protection, issues like that, all across Europe.
You've voted against the EU many times. Before today, you've branded some of its policies crazy and immoral. Would you now actually describe yourself as a pro-European?
Yes, I've been critical of many things within the European Union. I think you would have probably gathered from my speech I have many criticisms of the European Union. This is a decision about whether we stay in and argue for the kind of socially just Europe that I want, that our party wants, that the vast majority of trade unions and ordinary people in this country want, or we walk away from it. That's the decision that's been made. Does it mean I recount on everything I've ever said or done? Absolutely not. I'm sorry about that.
What has caused this conversion to the EU cause? You voted against membership of the EEC in 1975. Last year you said you couldn't rule out campaigning to leave the EU. Are you still a Eurosceptic? And if not, what's changed?
Well, I did vote that way in 1975, kind of you to remind me.
Can you give us a sense of what your thoughts are this morning?
There was a referendum, there was a decision by the people of this country, and we support the result of the referendum and have to carry it out. We campaigned for a yes vote in the referendum. 2/3 of Labour supporters voted yes. The majority of Labour MPs, vast majority, campaigned for a yes vote. That was our position. The referendum result was different, but remember, it was the largest participation in any electoral process in Britain for as long as I can remember, and there was a result, and Parliament has to respect that result. The majority of Labour MPs voted to trigger Article 50. 50-odd voted against it, mainly on the basis of their strong message from their own constituents. My argument is it was a national vote, it was a national referendum, and Parliament has to respect that.
Why is the Labour Party not in favour of a second referendum?
What we've asked for and demanded in Parliament has been a meaningful vote in Parliament at the end of it, so MPs
but I'm talking about the people deciding, not Parliament.
And what happened with this bill was it was an undemocratic power grab by the government. We're not asking for a second referendum.
And you're not going to? That's
And in that election, we will commit to a public vote with a credible option to leave and the option to remain.
Tories want no deal. We will stop that, and we believe the public should have a vote to decide whether it should be no deal or remain in the EU.
I've just got a feeling they're going to keep on voting until they get the answer they want. Until they get the answer they want. Until they get the answer they want.